Right, folks, welcome to another live review, although I'm saying this because it's the playback. And let me just get the comments up. I've pushed this live stream back about 2 or 3 times this evening because I was waiting about on friends who wanted to go for a smoke. So it delayed it slightly, which is very annoying. But we've not got any viewers at the moment. Turn on the live chat for when they come. So today we're having a look at No Country, which is from Garage Beer Co. out of Spain. This is 10% ABV Imperial Stout, Cafe Crema Catalana Imperial Stout. So when we're stouting, we like it silky smooth. An extra long boil to caramelize the sugars of an extensive malt base, followed by an addition of freshly roasted Colombian coffee from our friends at Nomad Coffee Roasters, Barcelona, at the end of fermentation. All topped off with a dose of organic vanilla extract. So yeah, a nice big 750ml bottle. Bottle number 3 out of 20 apparently. Now a couple of friends have had this, and in fact, excuse me, I picked this up for the Marlborough Piss Up bottle share, but it turns out everyone else has pretty much already had it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to have it myself. Picked this up from Northern Monk as part of their cellar project. I think it was 20 quid, if I remember correctly. I know you can get it in cans, and I'm not too sure how old this bottle actually is, how long Northern Monk have had that. And for some reason can't get into me Untapped, so I can have a look at the information. It's probably going to be a quiet one tonight because no comments. It is Tuesday after all. Garage Beer Co. So, as said, not too sure when this batch was actually brewed. Not sure how many times they've rebrewed this beer either. So I'm going in pretty blind for this one, and Untapped's just not loading, so I can't give you any additional information. Or even if it's a vintage or whatever, who cares? Let's just get the beer open and into a glass. Bit of a big one for a school night, but oh well. We shall see what we get with this. Quite carbonated. Got a nice hiss to it. It's got a nice glug though as well. Pouring a little bit thin. Getting Instagram notifications. Starting my brewery tote bag Tuesday series on Instagram, which I was saying I was doing it for ages, and then it was Rob from Hopsy who actually made me pull my finger out and sniff it afterwards. No, basically to do it, and he's done the same as well. So go over to the Clueless Drinker Sucks Instagram page and have a look if you want to. If not, that's absolutely fine. Anyway, beer in the glass then, and that is pretty much jet black with just a thin lining of a sort of mocha looking head. Sort of like, reminds me a little bit of cola, but with a darker head. And I don't think Untapped is going to load at all because it's been an absolute cunt. But hey ho, it is what it is. And it's now not letting me just go through. I don't want to go through the app, you fucking plank. Open a new tab. Here we go. So yeah, pretty much just seeing cans on the Untapped. It appears to start with coffee, muscovado sugar, and a touch of vanilla inspired by Crema Catalana. Good evening, James. Hope you're doing well. Crema Catalana, what's that? Let's have a look at what that is. So, it's basically a Spanish dessert, as you would expect. So I think it's sort of like a bit like a creme brulee, almost. Interesting. And it's got the actual description right underneath the photo. The dessert known in most of Spain as crema catalana, but as crema cremada in Catalan cuisine. It is similar to a creme brulee. The desserts have been called virtually identical, although crema catalana is made with milk, while creme brulee is made with cream. Interesting. Looks very nice. Do you know what? I don't think I've really had too many creme brulees, to be honest. I think, to me, there's much more interesting desserts. But I'd be more than happy to try one. So yeah, head is settled really nicely. Save a little bit of a film. It's looking a little bit more oily now. So on the nose. Ooh. A little bit of booziness there. Definitely getting this sort of like muscovado sugar. It's almost got like a cakiness to be honest. Let me read this on the other phone, James. Sorry. So you don't see an up close and personal version of me on your screen. Went to Salt and Shipley Triangle at the weekend. Rob Hopseen at both are nice. He's pretty much like a stone's throw away from there. I was planning on having a little cheeky trip to Leeds this weekend, but unfortunately Rob's a little bit busy, so I might postpone that because I've got a weekend off and I coughed and nearly spilled my beer. Brian Roster says, "Hi Peter, nice haircut." Well, thank you very much. It does look a little bit like I'm friends with Tommy Robinson, but hey ho, it's a little bit shorter than I wanted it to be, but thank you very much. And Joe says, "Sup, bud? Sup? Hope you're doing okay." Coffee is not too detectable on the nose. There is a faint coffee hint there. But then again, I don't, as I said, don't know how old this bottle is. I don't think it's that old. But maybe the coffee could have subsided slightly. And I don't know, part of me is regretting opening a 750ml bottle of 10% stout. But it's going to be the only thing I'm going to be drinking tonight anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And I could always put a bung in top and save some for tomorrow. Getting a vanilla in there. And it does have that sort of like creaminess. I've never smelled a creme brulee or creme cafe. I'm not sure. Having an evening sip of Joycey, I am indeed. Last minute, I just felt like it. Not a bad day at work. Just felt like cracking open a big beer. Anyway, smells good. So let's see what it tastes like. Cheers. Coffee is definitely a lot more evident on the flavour. It's not lost its coffee flavour at all. Can't really say that because I've never tried this sort of like fresh. But definitely big roasty coffee. It's not as sweet as I was expecting it to be. Maybe those sort of flavours could have faded slightly. Hi everyone, says Thomas. WB Reviews, evening Thomas. And Skal. Slangivar, cheers, Prost. And other variations of cheers. It's not what I expected it to be. And I've got to say, I was expecting maybe a little bit more of a bolder mouthfeel. That being said, it does have a little bit of oiliness, so it coats your palate nicely. It's a little bit more smoky than I was expecting it to be. So maybe that coffee character's imparting that sort of flavour. But yeah, beautiful roasted malt flavour. I mean, in terms of like an imperial stout, it's got some really nice flavours. But with all those additions in there, you're not getting them too much. And in fact, it's got a savoury aftertaste. So it's like a nice, big, bold imperial stout. But it's nothing outrageous. I'd maybe like it to be a little bit more creamy. See, I'm getting like licorice with this. There's a sort of like a brown sugar sweetness coming through, but it's a little bit more earthy, a little bit more woody than I was expecting. It's a damn fine imperial stout, don't get me wrong, but I'm actually glad that I didn't take this to a bottle share, because in the nicest possible way, you've tasted an imperial stout like this plenty of times. This bottle cost me 20 quid, which I'm not too sure what that price is, how that fits. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's a good price, I don't know if I've overpaid. I know when the cans were out, I remember Craig telling me he paid about 14 quid for his, which was like 440 can. So I'm not getting that much more beer for that extra 5 quid. Do you know what I mean? How could I train my palate? I'm still trying to work that out myself, Joe, to be honest. If you ever come to this channel for expertise on beer, you will be gravely disappointed. But I would say best way to train your palate is just keep trying new sorts of beers. The ones that you really like, keep trying and try different sort of like breweries, beers that are the same. But also, I've learned this with styles like wheat beers and Belgian beers. Even when there are flavours that I'm not the biggest fan of, or specific styles that I'm not the biggest fan of, I won't drink them as often, but I'll still, try those beers. Depending on what your sort of like local areas like. Because are you based in the UK, Joe? Because the supermarkets for me were a big sort of stepping stone. And I know people, they sort of moan about the fact that all these beers are now in the supermarkets. But I think you're not going to get the best of a brewery in a supermarket, because obviously they're brewing for profit. Well, of course you're going to brew. You're a business. You should be brewing for profit anyway. That's another point about the whole supermarket side of things. But, you're brewing. That being said, I've had some really high quality beers from the supermarkets. And from the same breweries buying direct different beers and stuff like that. Sometimes the supermarket stuff has been, better than a new release. Do you know what I mean? To me, I know you just said you're in Norway. I'm not sure what the sort of like beer in supermarkets is like in Norway, but I always find that to be a good if you have a range of different beers, no matter how limited or vast it is, in a supermarket, you're not going to be paying over the odds. It gives you an opportunity to try as many different beers. One thing I've never really done is, it's going to sound awful because I'm doing beer reviews, is I very seldom buy a beer after watching a beer review. If someone's recommended a beer to me, then of course I'm going to be a little bit more open to try it. But yeah, if you want to train your palate, just keep going at it. Look at what certain hops, yeasts, and malts give to a beer, like their properties. I know there's like a whole way of doing beer reviews where nobody wants to read tasting notes and nobody wants to, read too much into a beer before they try it. But I think every now and then that's not a bad thing. If you go into something trying to find something that's been like showcased or advertised on the label. And I think it just comes with time. I think different people's palates develop in different ways at different rates. So, it's just one of those things. I don't think there is like a black and white answer. I think you've just got to try and figure out what's best for you, really. But just try as much as you possibly can, in moderation, obviously. But that's what I did. The supermarkets, I know supermarkets for different people are different, but for me, that's how I got into this and developed my palate. Goldrake says, "Evening, mate." Good evening, Goldrake. Hope you're doing well. And we've got Harry, Blue Nose Beer Reviews. I was genuinely surprised. Binth Stewart I had from Lidl yesterday. See, now I wouldn't. That's making me want to try that because someone's actually said, "Oh, that wasn't too bad." But if I were to watch the review of it and you drank it, I probably wouldn't. It wouldn't. You know what I mean? It wouldn't sort of like resonate with me to. Oh, I need to try that beer, unless someone's actually telling me directly to give a beer a try. Let's see. Goldrake was asking Harry if he was back in Brum. Joe says you can buy beer up to 4% alcohol in normal shops. Over that, you need to go to special government shops called the Vinmonopolet. I'd imagine one of those words is that the Norwegian for monopoly at the end. But yeah, it's like, don't be sort of like, when I first got into it and I was starting to go to bottle shops, there was always something in the back of my mind where I was like, oh shit, this isn't for me. Do you know what I mean? You get sort of like overwhelmed by the sheer selection of beers. You get overwhelmed by the price of some of those beers. You get overwhelmed by like the staff who are in there. Because even though, for the most part, I have come across some proper snobbish know-it-all arseholes in bottle shops and bars. Not just staff, but like customers. Those people who show off and they're like, I noticed this a lot in brewdog bars where like someone would take like their spouse into brewdog and then just go on about the beer to them, and they've got no interest. They're like, just shut up and drink your beer. We need to move on. But it's easy to get overwhelmed, I think. But yeah, Harry's back in Brum mid-September. Costs about £3.50 for a can of beer. That's not too bad. Evening again, says Adam, in non-real life format. Yeah, Adam dropped off some beers for me early this evening. So we've got a small mystery beer, then 3 bigger mystery beers, and he also brought me a can of Magnificent 7 Triple IPA, which was brewed for the Liverpool Craft Beer Expo. So you've got Black Lodge, Carnival, Chapter, Glenafric, Love Lane, Neptune, and Top Rope. Brewed at Top Rope, if I remember correctly, from what Adam was saying. Yeah, and it's clearly saying that the can. Got a terrible memory, obviously. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to the mystery beers. But I hope you had a nice walk, and I'm glad that there was no rain. I'm drinking this, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a tiny bit disappointed. Because I thought it'd be a little bit more sillier and flavoursome than it is. But then again, you know, you've got to take age into consideration. Wine Monopoly. I thought so, because obviously that makes sense. In the Vin. Apologies for my terrible pronunciation there as well. Let's see, Wine Monopoly. On the water again, only drinking Friday and Saturday now. Good for you, sir. I do need to cut down, but I'll probably end up drinking a couple of nights this week, and then I've got a weekend off, so I do need to stock up on some lower ABV beers, because me and Adam were talking about this. We've just got like Imperials now left. Big Sip Review says Peter. Evening, Big Sip. Hope you're doing okay. And then Brian says, heard a guy ask for a recommendation on lager and Brewdog Bar, and Edinburgh Barman said the last thing I would recommend someone is a lager. See, that's a mentality I hate. I mean, I know you can laugh at when you go to craft beer bar and like someone comes in and says, "Oh, do you have anything similar to Foster's?" But it's a legitimate question. And where was I? I was in Dead Crafty in Liverpool, and I think it was the owner who was in there. And I don't know, the way he responded to someone asking that sort of like same question just really didn't rub me up the right way. And I hate that. It's just get over yourself. It's beer. You know, it's not a cure for, you know, the deadliest illness in the world. Just because you've got a nice bottle of beer or a nice selection, it doesn't mean you're a better person. Your social status hasn't vastly improved. And I just hate that side of things. Do you know what I mean? It's so unnecessary. And it just fuels that stereotype that we're all just arseholes who think we're better than other people. Do you know what I mean? It's just so stupid, and it harms the industry as a whole. We're supposed to be an inclusive industry. Do you know what I mean? And I can't believe I've just referred to we, an industry, at the same time. I'm just someone who enjoys the beer and happens to record my thoughts and opinions on it. It's a little bit of fruitiness coming from this one. Let's see. Open to Rockfort 6. Dry day tomorrow and probably Thursday. That's good. Gaz usually recommends their house lager, which is Veltins. I'm not too sure. It might have just been a member of staff in there. But he certainly didn't recommend a Veltins. He was a little bit arrogant and standoffish about it. Let's see. Big Sip says just sipped 8 triple hazy Janes or whatever they're called out TMK. I've not had triple hazy Jane yet, but then again, fucking people on Instagram. I won't say the person's name, and I won't bring attention to the fact that it's a female Instagrammer. But just the shit this person is posting when it comes to Brewdog. I think a couple of people will know who I'm talking about. considers herself a pin-up. That's all I'm going to say. Marjorie did get some horrendous responses about Brewdog, her thoughts on Brewdog, so it sort of evens itself out. It goes both ways, really. It reminds me of a certain beer reviewer who only drinks foreign beers, says Goldrake. Let's see, some same barman now works for Vault City, haha, says Brian Roster. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? And yeah, it's just amazing. I'm just going to say, there's so many bullshitters and fake people involved in what we do. Do you know what I mean? Posy, fake, arsehole-ish people. But there's also a lot of really decent, good people. And me personally, I had a really good experience with a lot of people in this. Tomas is a club with John Smith's Heineken or Moretti on tap. Ooh. See, I'd be opting for the John Smiths if it's kept okay. And Adam says, just find a new club. Got Craig, aka Camp Beer Reviews, says, cheers, mate. Cheers, Craig. See, I need to do what Craig's doing right now and have a couple of weeks off the beer. But I don't know, I just some days without anything bringing it on, you just feel like, do you know what? I'll crack open one beer tonight. Although that being said, after this, there is a can of Lost Lager in the fridge from the weekend. So I might crack that open a little bit later on. Get into, lads. But I just can't drink like that. I mean, I had a bit of a heavy weekend. Harry says, did you just say John Smith's kept okay? I did indeed, Harry. You dragon soup swilling wonderful man. Well kept keg, he says. Goldrake says big sip. Reviews Heineken and Moretti are decent. Wouldn't touch John Smith's though. What's this John Smith's hate, by the way? Yeah, I was going to say, is Peter confusing Cask Tetley's? Now, Cask Tetley sounds good. No one ever has one beer, says Harry. I get those names mixed up all the time. It's Filch local football darling match and what's on tap in the clubhouse, Adam. Fair dues. I was going to say, is there no Guinness? Because there's something so nice about a well-kept and well-poured Guinness. Adam's saying mystery beer time. I might opt for that, to be fair. I mean, there is this smaller can, which would make sense on a school night. And I know Goldrake has just commented, but it's not showing up on my YouTube feed. Let me just switch to live chat. Saying Peter John Smith's is fucking... Sorry, Peter John Smith's. Well, it's just your opinion. I mean, it's... Don't get me wrong. It's not something I'm going to seek out. Or I shouldn't say anything beginning with seeking it. Not with this haircut. Jordan, bring your own. Yeah, that's always a good shout there, Adam. Craig H says, evening, Mr. Clueless. Evening, Craig. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Harry goes, it's just an opium. Everything's just an opium. Like arseholes, everyone's got one. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit daft if I drink the whole of this. I don't want to drink the whole in one fell swoop because I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, it's a well brewed stout, but I've never had a crema catalana. Never really had a creme brulee. If I have, it was years ago. But drinking this is not what I would imagine those two things to taste like. Now, if this was just labelled as a coffee imperial stout, mate, wonderful stuff. It's a wonderful coffee imperial stout. But I'm just not getting those other flavours, and I've got a sneaky suspicion that although, I mean, it's Northern Monk where I bought it from in the Manchester bar. Although this bottle was like straight from one of the fridges. Mind you, it's still kept well. They're not going to keep bad. They're not going to keep beer bad, are they? In a place like that. But yeah. Just after hearing like Rob's opinion on this and Craig's opinion on this, and then reading Untapped reviews from people who I know, I'm just not getting that same experience from this beer. And it's just a little bit boring. It's not as bold or as viscous as I'd like it to be, but then that probably says more about me and my expectations than anything else. But as an Imperial Stout, it's good. As a coffee Imperial Stout, it's really good. But yeah. Let's see, the big things come in small packages sometimes. Oh, really? The way Adam talks about mystery beers, I'd imagine that's, or is he just referencing the big bottle? But I was going to do a stream on OnlyFans because you could do a lot of damage with that. No. I'd like to be able to sit down at work tomorrow. A consensus is just drink it. I'm not going to do what Craig suggested and chug it. Just because, have you ever seen me attempt to chug a beer? I don't know if the video's on this channel or when I was doing beer reviews before I set up the Clueless Drinker, but there's a video of me trying to chug a litre of Augustina Lager beer hell. Made the mistake of chilling it down, which makes it a little bit hard to drink, but I can't chug beer in general, really. And Goldrake's getting to see Tangerine Dream at Brum. Do you like a bit of Tangerine Dream? What lineup is because I don't know, is it still original band members? I do like Tangerine Dream. I like their film work. Their score to Sorcerer is just absolutely mental. I love it. Good film as well. Really good film. William Friedkin, one of the... I say this every time about William Friedkin. He's such a well-respected and critically acclaimed director. But I still feel that he is tremendously underrated as a director. I mean, Sorcerer, French Connection, Exorcist is okay. To Live and Die in LA, Cruising. What was it? Was it Killer Joe with Matthew McConaughey? That was a good film. What else has he done? Off the top of my head, can't remember. But I like Freakin'. I like Freakin' a lot. Let's see. Got Rockfort 6 now, and then Westmont Double next. 7.5%, 7%, but they are 330 mils. That's always a good. Sensible, Adam. I like that. Surprised here another Tangerine Dream fan. Not many about. It was formed in 1967, so no original members. Thorsten, Quishing, Hoshiko, Yamane, Ulrich Schnaus, Paul Frick are the current members. They're still going good. They've gone to their old style, which is brilliant. Yeah, that's what I don't like about bands like that. You know, like old bands who don't sound anything like they did back in the day when they do live shows. It's like the Who. I mean, obviously they're missing two of the most important band members, Keith Moon and John Entwistle. So they'll never. Doesn't matter how great, because is it Ringo Starr's son who's drumming for the Who now, and I don't know who's doing the bass. But it doesn't matter how good the people they get in. On an individual level, you're never going to top Keith Moon, and you're never going to top John Entwistle. And that force together, you will never. It's going to take you a lot to find such an important and amazing duo than Keith Moon and John Entwistle. To me, John Entwistle is the greatest bass player of all time. And I'm not trying to take away from Roger Daltrey, got a great voice. Pete Townsend, great guitarist, just a great musician, both great songwriters. But to me, it's not the Who. And that's why, even though the Stranglers, for me, one of my all-time favourite bands, I mean, I feel like I should, because I think it's their last tour that they're doing now. But to me, Stranglers now aren't the same as, the original Stranglers. And speaking of synths and that sort of prog kraut rock sort of thing, such a shame. Hang on a minute. Such a shame that Dave Greenfield's not with us anymore. What a musician Dave Greenfield was. Yeah, but I don't want to take away from the Stranglers, because the stuff that they've recorded since Hugh Cornwell left has been really good. There's some really good, and their new album is sounding amazing. Plus, they've got Teddy Sheringham. Is it Teddy Sheringham? Teddy Sheringham in the new music video, who is actually a really big Stranglers fan. Even the lineup before Baz was the singer was good. Had some interesting music, but I don't know. It'd be good to see them. But because Jet Black's not drumming anymore, and obviously we don't have Dave Greenfield. I mean, Jean-Jacques Bonnel, another one of my favorite bass players ever, bassists. Just the sound that he got out of his bass, especially in the early years of the Stranglers, just amazing. I mean, his bass playing was one of the big inspirations for Peter Hook. And I've just clapped my hands and my finger cracked really loudly, and that fucking hurt. But yeah, slight diversion there. Let's see. Craig's currently watching the series Escobar by Escobar. Very nice. Have you ever watched Narcos? That was a good series. Greenmate, The Who are one of my faves as well. Yeah, but Journey sound very similar, but a different frontman. It's a good documentary. Okay, Journey. I've never been too big into Journey. Used to blaze listening to Rubicon and Phaedra, haha, says Joel Drake. Hi all. Home from night shift. Time for a fine ale, says Sam. Good day, Sam. You've got good taste in music, I must say. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just whatever sounds good to me sounds good. One day I can be listening to like all this French electronic music. Then I'll start listening to like some punk, post-punk, then fall down a rabbit hole of like Eastern European punk music. Then I think, do you know what? I feel like listening to a bit of something a bit more doomier. So then I'm listening to stuff like Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, and then Electric Wizard. I can't fucking wait to see Electric Wizard at some point. And then, do you know what? Sticking on that folkier side of it, where you want to class and folk like Jethro Tull, you know, you go on these musical journeys. But yeah, I'm gonna sound like one of those fucking beer people now, aren't I? Do you know, trying to show off and name drop. The Sparks. I can't say I'm a big fan of Sparks, although I do want to see that documentary that came out about them. That looks good. Wasn't that directed by Edgar Wright? Tell you who's got a great voice, Hugh the Beer Kid. I tell you what, listen to that. Listen to Hugh in that church. Was what that man is a man of mystery and wonder to me. And I think in terms of aesthetics, he's got his outfit bang on. I love all that punk era, Stranglers, Clash, Undertones, Ramones. Yeah, it's something I always go back to. I mean, just see, that's what, without getting too serious now, with everything that's going on in the world, where's our sort of like modern punk movement? Do you know what I mean? We're like genuinely well written, like political songs. Because now it's like, oh, the Orange Man's an evil man. It's like, you know, shit like that, where it's not interesting political commentary. It's just droning. It's like what comedy's become. Like, it's more about comedians coming out and telling you who to vote in a general election as opposed to making jokes. But yeah, where's all our... We're crying out for like an underground punk sort of movement right now. You know, the world's a shit place. Awful things are happening. Liberties are getting thrown out the window. Where's a good protest song? When's the last time you heard a really good protest song without it sounding like an overly protest song? I mean, Eric Clapton's song that he's just released, that suffers from the same thing. It's an alright song, but at the same time, it's just like preachy as fuck. Let's see. Goldrake saying evening to Sam. Mosby says, love Narcos, but thought the Mexican spin-off didn't have the same energy. I didn't watch the spin-offs. Same as me, says Pierre. I've been blasting Daft Punk all day. Fucking shame they split. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I heard they split up. And I don't know if this says a lot of good things about my sort of like generation, or if it's quite sad, but that's probably been one of the most significant like musical breakups of my lifetime. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I know bands have come, you know, bands have split in the last 32 years, but none seem as important as Daft Punk. It's hard to put into words, but I'm sure people understand where I'm coming from. Let's see. I was listening to a live version of Dark Side of the Moon at work tonight, top notch. I listened to that album for the first time earlier this year. And it's actually become quite a poignant album for me now, because my stepdad was a massive fan of Pink Floyd. Just his taste in music. It always rubs off on me, people's taste in music. I mean, I owe a lot of my sort of musical appreciation to my dad growing up. Because I'm one of those people, if music's playing in the background, I can't just go about my business and not acknowledge it. If there's a song in the background that I recognise, I sort of focus on it for a bit. I noticed that a lot when we were at the London Craft Beer Festival. You know, you're just like going about your business, talking to people, and a song comes on that you very faintly hear. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, I've not heard this for ages. But Dark Side of the Moon. Um, when my stepdad was, when he became sort of ill a few months before he died, I don't know how the conversation came up, but we were like, should we buy a record player? And then we treated him to a few records. He was a big fan of Neil Young. Got me into Neil Young. He got me into the band. He got me into The Nice. I mean, America by The Nice is just what a song that is. You know, I'd used to spend like a load of Friday nights either coming in after going out for a drink or just being in the house, and then he'd have like a couple of whiskies, and I'd just be sat downstairs with him, and like, you know, reruns of like old grey Whistle Test would come on, like the Sensational Alex Harvey band. Who else? Just so many great musicians. And so we bought a record player, bought him a few albums. And one of those albums was Dark Side of the Moon. Now, obviously, I've heard the occasional song from the album, but I've never listened to the album from start to finish. So we put it on for him one day, and he was loving it. It's not the greatest record player that we've got. The speakers, I think we need to get better speakers because it's a little bit muffled. But I was like, listen to it, and I was like, this is fucking amazing. And then, of course, a few months later, he passed away. So it's sort of like it's become a bit more of a sort of like a sentimental album for me. But yeah, isn't it amazing how music, especially music, can have these effects? You know, a song will be able to transport you back to a specific, like a pinpoint specific moment in time. A song will instantly remind you of someone. It's got to that point now where, because one of his favourite songs ever was My Generation by The Who. And it's got to that point now where sometimes I have to skip it because it just instantly, it's going to sound awful, but you know, if you're not in the right mindset, sometimes you don't want to be reminded of someone. But it always amazes me how powerful music can be. And because I wanted to get into film, and I'd listen to a song and I'd instantly imagine a scene, like shot for shot in my head, with a song playing in the background. And I mean, I know I talk a lot about films on the channel, and they sort of have the same connections and effects on me as music does. But yeah, man, music just, it's such a powerful thing, even when you don't realize it. But yeah, that was quite a story from Dark Side of the Moon. But imagine that live would be really good. Although David Gilmour seems a bit like a prick. Just he rubs me up the wrong way. I think I've said rubs me up the wrong way a lot of times now. Cannot go wrong with Pink Floyd. Craig, it's how he calls his sheep on his small hold. Fucking hell. Hugh needs, when he's finished dicking about in Poland, he needs to come back to the UK, buy himself a small farm, and raise cattle. Let's see. Brian Ross says, don't think there's been a musical revolution since grunge. I would very much agree. Very much agree. Peter, that's true. Loved it when they sung about proper political issues. The reason I love Jam so much and all of the punk movement and some metal bands. Yeah, they just do it in such a lazy way Adam says, smart people aren't encouraged to be creative and entertainment anymore, hence modern songwriting is now by idiots for idiots. Pretty much. Hitting the nail on the head. Daft Punk are just brill. Amazing how such simple lyrics can sound so great. Pink Floyd's OG groups get blazed too. It's a rock opera, got to be heard from start to finish. Listen on headphones, man. It's amazing. I get that sort of impression from the likes of the Alan Parsons Project. That debut album, Tales of Magic and Mystery, inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's work. It's like someone needs to make a film, like a musical, just based off that album. Same as Quadrophenia. I've not watched that for a while. Then I've not heard the album for a while. I only just listened to the original album version of Tommy for the first time, because Tommy for me is an amazing film. It's probably my favourite. What's his face? Ken. Do you know what? I nearly said Ken Livingston then. Ken Russell. It's my favourite Ken Russell film. And I think the soundtrack version is just amazing. The people they got in there. Jack Nicholson singing a song with on a Who album. But the actual original Who album, I only listened to that for the first time recently. Let's see. Brian says, my favourite prog band is Camel. I don't think I've heard too much. The name rings a bell. I've been listening to a lot of Can recently. Is the song Bossa Nova, that dun 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 dun. Their version of that is amazing. Yeah, I'm like that music. I have to be very careful with what I listen to. Definitely Craig. I can't tell you the amount of times where I've just been going about my business, got me Spotify headphones on, like I'm cleaning, cleaning something up, tidying up, and then a song comes on, and I'm like, fucking hell. You get hit emotionally, and I'm just like stood outside having a cigarette. But I'm not ashamed to admit it, almost crying sometimes, just because of like something that's triggered from music. And I don't get that with anything else. But you can find yourself going down a absolute wormhole of just, oh, I'm going to listen to this song now. Going to listen to this song now. Going to listen to this song now. It's fucking, it's mental. It's absolutely mental. But I love the fact that music can do that. And, even when you go to like a gig and you tear up and cry, whether it's because it's a beautiful song that you love or the fact that you're seeing one of your favourite bands perform one of your favourite songs, or if it's a song that holds a specific, sometimes happy or painful memory. I love the fact that music can make you do that. I think that's the beauty of music. And there's no excuses now. After the last 18 months, I want to go to as many gigs as I possibly can. I mean, my brother's band, The Apostles, not usually my sort of music, sort of like modern indie. But they were playing at, and Adam will know this venue, the Engine Rooms, over the weekend. And it was their first gig for a while. It was the best gig that they've done for me. The sound and the acoustics in the Engine Rooms, absolutely spot on. And I was sat there at one point, just looking at my brother on stage. And I just found myself just like welling up. Will I ever tell that to him? Will I fuck? Because I don't want him to, I don't want him to get above his station. But yeah, it was a proud moment. And that's probably one of the biggest regrets that I've got, actually, is the fact that I never pursued music. I've had a few opportunities to get a band together, but it's never gone past sort of like, those awkward jam sessions that you have when you rent out a place. But yeah, I'd love to. Plus, I'm lazy. I never commit to anything. I'm always my my biggest critic. I think that's what stopped me from pursuing graphic design, illustration, film, just because early in the process, you sort of say to yourself, you're not good at this, so stop it. And I'm like, yeah, all right then, fine. But yeah, so I'm living vicariously through my younger brother now with his band. And there are moments when I do get a little bit jealous, but hey ho, proud moment for me that. Give Dark Side of the Moog Volume 7 listen. If you like Floyd and TD, you'll love it. It's produced by Klaus Schultz, ex-member of Tangerine Dream. Now, I've heard quite a bit of Klaus Schultz's solo work. A really good band. Don't think they did many albums, but Tribute, they're a good band. He has a small hold farm with sheep. He has a tenant farmer in. Is that just a really funny joke, or is that true? Hugh should head Song of... Oh, could you imagine Hugh on Songs of Praise? That man's a wonderful man. He is. And the spear's nearly gone now. But yeah, Adam and Craig, I'm actually glad I didn't bring this to the share because it's not offering much. You know, you want something that's really interesting. It's not a bad beer by any stretch, but it's just a little bit boring. All I'm getting is a really nice, which is not a bad thing by any stretch. I'm getting like a really nice coffee imperial stout vibe about it, and all those sweet notes that you're expecting are just not there. So maybe they've dropped off a little bit. As I said, I don't know the age of this bottle, but hey ho, it is what it is. Recommend the Snow Goose and Moon Madness by Camel. Sounds good to me. I'll have to look out for that. Let's see. Hi there, Peter. Just watched 24 Hour Party People yesterday about the Manchester music scene in the 1980s. Well, good evening, Cloudy McCloud. And can I just say that 24 Hour Party People is probably my favourite film of all time, and one of the main reasons why I will find any excuse to spend a day, weekend, whatever, in Manchester. Fucking love that film. Just I could just go on for hours about why I love 24 Hour Party People. Steve Coogan is great as Tony Wilson. I love the fact that Tony Wilson essentially was one of the big inspirations for Alan Partridge. Paddy Considine as can't remember his name, Joy Division's manager. When you watch interviews with him and then see Paddy Considine's performance, it's just like he's nailed it. Just the cinematography, the sort of like different forms of filmmaking in there. I like the fact that it's got comedy, it's got obviously the drama and the sadness, because there's a lot of sadness in that story. Yeah, to me, it's just it is my favourite film of all time. I fucking love 24 Hour Party People. And I'm going to say it, I think it's about a Joy Division film than Control. Even though Joy Division are just a small part of the 24 Hour Party People. But yeah, the soundtrack's amazing, obviously. I don't know, that last like scene where Tony Wilson is talking to God and it's basically him, and that line about but you're right about Mick Hucknall. I can't remember what the line is, but the fact that at the end of it, and he's ginger, And I just love that. And that conversation that Paddy Considine's character, what's his name? I should know his name. I've watched that film, read any book I can, watched any documentary about it. But yeah, Joy Division's manager, and it's Tony Wilson and him sat in the hacienda. Tony's talked about an absolutely awful interview he's just done with a politician, and like the awful journey that he made there. And I don't know, it's just perfect, and it's sort of like the inner narrative that I have about myself. And I need to find out Joy Division manager's name. Someone might have actually written in the comments, but I do apologise. Rob Gretton. How could I forget Rob Gretton? For fuck's sake. But there's a scene with Rob Gretton, Tony Wilson, sat at the bar in the hacienda, and Rob Gretton's like, the only problem is you don't know what you are. I know what you are. And like Tony Wilson's like, it's something like, oh, well, you enlighten me. You're a cunt, mate. And then Tony Wilson's response is, yeah, I already knew that. And it's just perfect. It's perfect. I love that scene. I love that line. It's just absolutely spot on. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially in terms of their inner monologue. Cloudy McCloud, yeah, I knew someone would tell me it was, but yeah, exactly, genuinely funny and touching. It's just the perfect way. I know a lot of it was sort of like fabricated. I'd recommend watching the film and then reading Tony Wilson's. Was the book also called 24-Hour Black People? It's been a long time since I've read it. And yeah, it's just great. Just like the fourth wall breaking, especially that scene in the toilet in the factory club where, oh my god, it's just perfect. There's just so many good lines. I love it. I love everything about that film. When Tony's gone off to the out of the club into the back of the van, and then he comes back in and he sees his wife shagging Howard Devoto in the toilet, and it's just lines like, "I only got a blowjob. That's full penetration." Walks off, and then Howard Devoto is playing as the cleaner in the toilets, and then goes, "I definitely do not remember that happening." And then it cuts to Steve Coogan and Tony Wilson talking about how you should always, if you've got the truth and the legend, always print the legend. Just so many great fucking moments in that film. It's just perfect. Sandra James soundtrack to Risky Business. Look up the scene of Tom Cruise and Rebecca De Mornay getting on in the train. Isn't the song from that scene called Love on the Train? That dun 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 dun. Dun. That's a terrible version of the song that I've just done. Klaus Schultz is amazing. Classic German synth, cannot go wrong. I'll second that. It's amazing. Some genuinely funny. Yeah, we've got that. The Curtis guy was incredible. I thought he was. I thought he did a really good job. And the scene and how it was like shot, the way he, kills himself, like genuinely powerful. My mate's pretty much got a whole room full of Tangerine Dream stuff. He's been collecting since 1973. His collection is mad. The mate will recommend to be Contra a few days back. It's on watch list. Love Joy Division. Control. Control is a good film. I think Sam Riley does a really good job as Ian Curtis, but I don't know. I find 24 Hour Party People, even though the Joy Division side of things is just a small portion of the film, I think it's done much better. And although I like the actor who plays as Rob Gretton in Control, because he was the one who plays as Paddy Considine's brother in Dead Man's Shoes. Now that's a fucking amazing film. My nose is getting blocked. Does anybody have any sniff? No, I don't. I don't touch that. It was good, but yeah, Control. I have to rewatch Control. To be fair, Milo Graham says, "All right, mate. All right, Milo. Hope you're doing well." And then Cloud McCloud rightfully tell me that Paddy Considine was Rob Gretton. What a performance that is! Just subbed your channel recently. Enjoyed the Manchester vlogs a lot. Oh, very nice. I need to do more vlogs. I really do. Love on a Real Trainer's song tune, man. Yeah, I like that song. I remember hearing that the first time ages ago when I was really into music blogs, and there was a blog called a blogspot blog called Uncle Tnook or Uncle Tanook. Do I still have the sticker on my MacBook? That there. Can't remember what that's from. Whether it was like an 80s hair metal band or someone from a film. But there was loads of really good 80s soundtrack stuff. And that's when I first heard it. And Harold Faltermeyer's Captain Freedom's Workout from Running Man. That's a good song. And also, that was the first time I heard the full 12-inch version of Giorgio Moroder's Push It to the Limit. Fucking hell, what a song that is, by the way. If I ever made the stupid decision of looking after my body and going to the gym, I would just listen to Push It to the Limit for the duration. Joy Division bit was the most memorable to me. Yeah, I think they captured it perfectly. When they were in the studio where Martin Hannett's just fucking drinking cough medicine. And what's his face who plays as Martin Hannett? Perfect as well. The one who's like now known for playing as Gollum and stuff. Who also did a really good job of portraying Ian Drury. What's his name? I forgot his name. He's a good actor. He was in Planet of the Apes as well. Did all the what's it called, where they wear the stupid suit with the balls on and then do the movements. I forgot his name. Someone please feel free to correct me. But he was good. And that scene, because Ralph Little as Peter Hook, I think that's a really good performance as well. And like Martin Hannett's like, you wear it well, but play it like a fucking musician. It's just lines like that. And like when Tony Wilson's approaching Martin Hannett and he's on a fucking hill in the middle of nowhere, and Tony Wilson's like, what are you doing? I'm recording. I'm recording silence. You're recording silence? No, I'm recording Tony fucking Wilson. Oh, it's just amazing. It just fills me with so much joy. Really, really does. And that scene where I could just talk about my favourite scenes of 24 Hour Party People. I need to do a podcast, a Libido Mania podcast solely on 24 Hour Party People. Another one of my favourite scenes, 50 grand for a fucking table. And it's just I just love it. And that scene where when they first open the hacienda And Martin Hannett is like, he comes to the conclusion, I'm a fucking genius. You're all fucking idiots. You'll never see me again. And then walks off. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Andy Serkis, yeah. Andy Serkis, he didn't, obviously, he was playing as Martin Hannett, but there was an Ian Drury film, and Andy Serkis played as Ian Drury. The film itself is not that good, unfortunately. But you should watch it, though, just for Andy Serkis' portrayal of Ian Drury. It's really good. Stick to the JPS. Got them here. Got them here. All right, pal. Are you thinking of Andy Serkis? Yeah, that's the one. Agree. Push It to the Limit. Also love Gina's film from that theme from that film. Yeah, that's a good soundtrack. That's a fucking amazing soundtrack. Tony's theme is amazing. That dun 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 dun. Oh, I just love it. I just love it. Too much shirt and not enough dungarees in this live stream, says Thomas Open. Poundland Jesus coming in strong. Oh yeah, I've saw that Ian Drury film. Yeah, it was an alright film, from what I remember. I've not spoke for a week or so. I'm quitting. Well, good for you, sir. Good for you. And Thomas, we're talking about 24-Hour Party People. Directed by Michael Winterbottom, starring Steve Coogan, Paddy Considine. What's his face from Doctor Who has a good role in that as a homeless person in a subway. Still pivotal. Still a pivotal role. Ralph Little plays as Peter Hook. What's his face, who's a really good actor, plays as Bernard Summer. There's just so many great performances. The cameos are great in there as well. You've got Marquis Smith, who's queuing outside to get into the factory. Just some of the people involved in like the culture of Manchester have been having a really big resurgence of listening to Frank Sidebottom and watching like his show on YouTube, and John Cooper Clarke. Just the sheer talent that was coming out of Manchester. Even before then, I mean, 10cc. Can you get any better than that? That's why I like going to Manchester parties. But yeah, I think. Oh no! What's wrong with me talking about my appreciation for the cultural significance of Manchester? It's, to me, the best city in the world, even though my family are primarily Scouse. Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, that's what the film's called, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's an expensive habit. 10 to 11 quid a day for a pack of cigs. A woman in work actually has been trying to convince me to go to roll-ups, and she brought in a rolling machine and little cigarette holders. So after I finish this pack, I'm probably going to try doing rollies. Get some menthol. What are they called? Menthol filters. Yeah, so I'm going to try rollies for a bit, but I don't know what tobacco to get. Yeah, Tony Wilson's cameo in 24-Hour Party People is really good. And Thomas, I definitely recommend it. Even if you're not necessarily into that whole sort of like Manchester scene, because obviously it goes from like the punk stuff to like from like Buzzcocks, and then the Sex Pistols playing in, was it the Free Trade Hall, and then how that event brought everyone together. Then as it goes up all up until like the Hacienda and Factory Records just shat themselves because what a terrible way, but a brilliant way to run an empire. But yeah, Tony Wilson, just amazing, man. I could watch Tony Wilson interviews, segments from some of his shows. I mean, there's a fucking there's like a Factory Records DVD where a portion of the interview is him, and I think it was not one of his partners sat in a bath, and you can see as plain as day Tony Wilson's penis. What more do you need in life? That was a sad loss when he passed away. Cheers, Thomas. Cheers, everyone. Says Craig. Evidently, Chicken Town is a funny song. What a mind. I mean, did anybody listen to the album that John Cooper Clarke and Hugh Cornwell did of like all those covers? What a great live show that would have been. I'd say what, for his age, keep calling him John Cooper. John Cooper Clarke is one sharp dressed man. And he was doing a poetry reader in Wigan not too long ago, actually, pre-COVID. Manchester should be the capital, if you ask me. Could not agree more, Cloudy McLeod. Rolling is a whole lot cheaper. Can roll it to your liking too, definitely. Amazing, I just watched it and it's your favourite film. That's synchronicity or something, mate. It certainly is. It certainly is. And I'm glad to see someone else who's a big fan of that film. It's probably one of my favourite things Steve Coogan's been involved in. I love the fact that Simon Pegg's got a cameo. I'm not sure, is he doing a cameo as Paul Morley at the funeral? Even the person who played as Sean Ryder did an amazing job. I think he was in Alan Partridge as well, wasn't he? He was like one of the builders when Alan was having his house built. I always love that when you see the same few people appearing in other people's things. Can't remember the actress's name, but the one who plays as Tony Wilson's wife. Thought she did a really good job. It's just a well-acted film. And then, of course, you got those cameos in there as well. Like Paul Ryder's in there as one of the bouncers at the Hacienda. Vinnie Riley, who I think's like moving stuff about. Small cameo. What a great guitarist Vinnie Riley is, by the way. The Durruti column, some absolutely beautiful music. I think, for me personally, the best thing or the best band to ever come out of Factory Records was A Certain Ratio. Just such a great band. And I know, like, New Order get a lot of the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the whole American, like Detroit, Chicago dance scene, that sort of stuff. Not to take anything away from New Order, because I think New Order are a fucking amazing man. Saw them live at Southside in Germany. Was a wonderful evening. Just sat there on the floor, like cuddling my ex, just seeing New Order play live after seeing The Cure not too long before that. Just really nice memories. And they were really good live, even if Hooky wasn't playing with them. But I know they get a lot of credit for sort of like the dance, even though Happy Mondays were doing that much earlier, because of the fact that they were the ones who bring like a lot of ecstasy and heroin into the UK, which of course fueled the party scene and rave scene. But if you listen to a certain ratio, the really early stuff, it's sort of like very similar. I mean, they poke fun at themselves for sounding a little bit like Joy Division, but then taking like influence from like Latin culture and then the dance stuff coming out of America. They're one of the bands I'd love to see now. Like mixing disco pop, has that sort of like a electro clash element to it as well. But of course, taking influence from the dance music from America as well. Just wonderful. Just so many talented, amazing, talented people coming out of Manchester. A band who you never hear really anyone talking about, but the Manchester Macon, Mekon. Not sure how that word's pronounced. They produce some really interesting music. Mr. Scruff, what a producer he is. It's just, I could just gush and gush and gush about Manchester. And I've got to say, the last couple of times I've been, the shine's been slightly dulled. I don't know what it is. It's got a little bit rough, as Manchester, I've found. I don't know what it is. Not generally in the town centre, in the city centre, but I don't know. But I still love going to Manchester. Any opportunity to go for a few drinks around Manchester is good enough for me. Needing this tonight. Cheers, Peter. Well, thank you for stopping by, Craig. And I'm glad you're enjoying this. Hope you're doing well. And you always know where I am, of course. Sam Pegg was a journalist. Okay, so he wasn't specifically playing as Paul Morley. New Order, Goldrake approves. I want to see Depeche Mode, says Craig. I'd like to go see Depeche Mode as well. I think they've had a really interesting career. Starting off as like the typical new romantics pop sort of stuff, but they're getting really quite dark and almost like flirting with like heavy metal music. The same way Gary Newman's gone as well, really. I feel like such a twat when I talk about music like this. When I go from one band to another and then link other bands to one another. But music, I just love music. It's been the one constant in my life, really. Like I said, I was musically aware when I was like being baffed by my dad, and he had like the Smiths playing, and he'd always have like music playing in the car. There'd always be music playing in the house when he's like cooking tea, and these sort of like those sort of memories again that you attach to music. And you get that with beer as well. Sometimes you can drink a beer that you drank like 2 years ago, drink it in the present day. You take that first sip, instantly takes you back to that. So it's what happens to me a lot of German beer. I spent 4 of the happiest years of my life living in Germany. Beautiful country. I was in a much better situation then, although looking back, I wasn't the best person I could have been. It's all about personal growth. And if you dwell on it, you're just going to rip your hair out, pull yourself to shreds. Pull yourself to pieces, not shreds. Get your terminology correct, Peter. Jesus. Correct soundtrack was Mick Meadows. Okay. Yeah, Rob Brydon. Those interactions that Rob Brydon's character and Tony Wilson had, where he almost gets battered by Rob Gretton. And that argument they have about the Beatles. What's it called? Was he calling him like Paul Lennon and John McCartney or something like that? And then Tony Wilson's correcting him, almost getting into a fight. Oh, it's just wonderful. I've said this about 100 times down this stream, but 24 Hour Party People, just a wonderful film. It really, really is. Even if you've not got too much interest in that sort of like era, I mean, it's a big era. It starts from the pre-punk years to the sort of rave scene. So it's a vast amount of time that surpasses. even if you've not got too much interest in that side of things, it's definitely worth it. To me, it's the best film about music, a music-related film. Now, I can watch a documentary or a film. I'd be able to watch a fucking documentary about Bring Me the Horizon, a band that I fucking hate. But I'd probably still find it a little bit interesting. Although I don't really want to sit through a fucking emo documentary. And if Harry's still here, the Idols are fucking shit. Idols are shit. Don't like Idols. They're like a poor man's Sleaford Mods. They're alright live, actually, though. I've heard some good live stuff. What made you leave to Germany? What made you move to Germany? How long for and what city? So basically, I moved to Germany because I was in a relationship with a German girl. Weirdly enough, all happened through Facebook, through a group of friends that I had. Because that was when I was like really into the film, movie, YouTube sort of stuff, and the movie community. And I'm sure there's videos floating around now, probably videos that I'm not proud of. But if you looked up the Scat House on YouTube, there may be a few videos up of some very questionable individuals, including myself. That was probably when I was at my most trollishness. So I was, and somehow this girl from Germany got involved in this group. Then we got talking. Next thing I know, I'm waiting at Manchester Airport for her. My mum and my stepdad have taken me to the airport, so I feel like a fucking 10-year-old. And so she came, stayed with me for a couple of weeks. Then it was like going back and forth. She'd come over, then I'd go to Germany. And then I'd finish uni, so I was like, nothing keeping me in England. Moved to Germany. I was just a lazy bastard, didn't find a job, living off the generosity of her. Her dad had recently passed, so she got a nice sort of big lump sum. I was making a little bit of money from YouTube at the time. So we were living in Regensburg, which is not too far from Nuremberg, and Munich. It was sort of like you travel that direction on the train for an hour and a bit, you're in Nuremberg. You travel an hour and a bit on a train, you're in Munich, going that way. So lived in Regensburg. That all came crashing down in an absolutely awful way. So I was there for 4 years. But I always think, looking back, I don't know whether to word it as the best thing that happened to me, or the worst thing that happened to me, because I learned a lot about myself as a person and made a realization that that person I was back then was, without being a piece of shit, I just wasn't a good person. Do you know what I mean? I was living off the generosity of others. I wasn't inspired to make anything of myself. I was lazy. And yeah, so that all came crashing down. Hit rock bottom, came back to England, and yeah, it was a wonderful experience. And I think everyone has to go through something like that at some point in their life, because you need to realize a lot of things about yourself. And I certainly did. And here I am today in all my glory, as a much wiser and older, although I still look like I'm in my early 20s. So yeah, that's why I was in Germany. Regensburg's a beautiful city, by the way. Absolutely gorgeous city. It was about Brian Epstein. This is Cloudy McCloud. Yeah, Brian. Yeah. Yeah, it was Brian Epstein and George Martin, wasn't it? George Epstein and Brian Martin. Rasco and Disco. Beerview says the Slow Readers Club. Not sure if that's Rasco or Disco saying that, but good evening, sir. Either way. I'm also in the middle of a really brilliant film documentary about Iron Maiden flying about in their 757 jet in 2008. Now that to me sounds like a wonderful documentary. I got to see them at Rock am Ring in 2014, I think it was. And at that same festival, got to watch Metallica, and they were just fucking shit, which is a real shame. So using her for the Deutschmarks, essentially, and very sloppy blowjobs. The Beatles argument about Brian Epstein, and I can't believe I've just mentioned sloppy blowjobs on camera. Come on. Sloppy blowjobs. I'd be so lucky now. Fucking hell. Last girl I was with had autism and was very emotionally abusive. See, if I was an American comedian, I could make a fucking career out of that and not have to worry about getting cancelled. But yeah, that was God. She was a funny fucking person. Threatened to deep throat me with a strap on, and I look back now, it's like I probably would have tried that if it pleased her. No, I'm joking, but she did actually. Can you believe she actually asked me, "Would you like a blowjob sometime?" It's like, what? Are you kidding me? What has this live stream devolved into, really? Why do you subscribe to this channel? Genuinely. But one man's too much information is one man's not enough information. And if you can't find humour in stories like that, then you'll just drive yourself to despair. I find it genuinely hilarious. Some of the worst shit that's happened to me in my life. There's something funny about it. You've got to find comedy. You really do. But yeah. I'm questioning that. Let me check. It's just got Drake. God, after having those fucking PCR COVID tests, the idea of a strap on. Fucking hell, I was making the worst gagging sounds just having basically a fucking cotton wool bud going to the back of my throat. Jesus Christ. I don't know how people can do that. I really don't understand how someone could get stuffed in the mouth like that. Do you know what I mean? Oh God! Sometimes people from work watch these live streams, so that could be interesting conversation during the week. Iron Maiden Flight 666, great film. The lead singer flies the jet himself was amazing to me. Throwing up your chicken balti over the gaff. Well, we were in Leeds, so there was a really nice selection of food, and she had a really nice apartment in the centre of Leeds, facing a Weatherspoons. If she wasn't such a psycho fucking bitch, perfect agreement there. But yeah, is this too much information? I don't know. I don't give a flying fuck. It's funny. I watch too much American comedy. American comedians who can just like talk about the worst things that have happened to them. I've got so much respect for them. But yeah, when we were at when I saw Iron Maiden at Rock am Ring, I can't remember if it was before Iron Maiden were on stage or after, but he actually flew over um, the event, which I thought was amazing. And I'm not gonna lie, Trooper is not a bad beer. If you go into a gig and they've got Trooper at the venue, perfect gig beer. It's a perfect gig beer. And that Belgian, was it a quad or a triple or something like that they did a few years ago? That wasn't too bad either. I thought it was really good. Plus, Bruce Dickinson's a class act in general, really. But yeah, I feel like I should have another beer. And even though this isn't labelled as mystery beer, and the stream's been going on for nearly an hour and 40 minutes, I think I'm going to open a mystery beer. Fucking hell. A mystery beer. And I'll just edit the title and the description. So we've got mystery beer from the legend that is Adam, aka Mersey Beers. He picked up his beers from the Suds and Soda order that I did. And he also, whilst he picked up his beers, dropped off a small mystery beer, 3 bigger mystery beers, and then a triple IPA from the London Craft Beer Expo. Yeah, everyone's saying have one beer, and the dust from this corner of the room is playing havoc, not havoc, havoc on my nostrils at the moment. But yeah, I think I might have a cigarette actually while I'm waiting. So if you bear with me 1 second, cameras and the camera and microphone is going to be muted. I need a piss. I need a glass, and I'll be right back. Thank you. just want to say, but no strap-on for you, dear lads t-shirt coming out soon. Fucking hell, she was a little bit mental. But hey-ho, it is what it is. So, got myself a new glass. Going to use the Goose Island glass. And we're going to have a bit of a mystery beer. I'm really in the mood for a well-poured Guinness. I don't know what it is. There's a channel on YouTube. It's an Irish guy, and every video is related to Guinness. He reviews sort of new Guinness beers. He does comparison videos between different versions of Guinness. He also does trips, going to specific parts of the Ireland, Northern Ireland, and then the rest of the UK, trying to find the best poured Guinness and that sort of stuff. It's really interesting stuff. Can't remember what his channel's called, but it is good. Guinness Guru, that's the one. I'd like to go for a drink with Guinness Guru. I've just had a Goose Island IPA. I've not had that for a while. This glass was from the brew pub in London. Had some good beers in there with Craig and Harry. And a really nice burger. So, the first mystery beer. The rest I'm going to do on their own live stream. But because this is small, I thought I'd open this now. Beautifully packaged by Adam. Now, all Adam has told me is that there are two that I might like, one that I probably won't like, and then two that I probably won't like, one that I might like, and then one that I might like or dislike. But that's the thing about mystery beers. No matter what someone says to you before you've drank the mystery beers that they've given them, you've got to take every comment with a grain of salt. So for all I know, he could have meant that all 4 beers I would hate. They may all be trolley as fuck. But I don't care. That's what I love about mystery beers. That barley wine was absolutely bang on. Was that part of the Bourbon County series, or was that just a specific barley wine for the brew pub? I can't remember. I know you and Harry checked it in, but I didn't have a look. It's events like that I do wish that I was a little bit more active on Untapped. I have a Guinness Original fairly regularly. Yes, there's just something satisfying about a nice Guinness. Do you know what I mean? Did you guys get that Bourbon County over there this year? I haven't seen it in Australia since pre-COVID. A bit of a shame, as I normally try each year. And the one we had was brewed on site in 2018. Yeah, that was beautiful. And the Bourbon County stuff, you sort of get that in batches, the once or twice a year. I'm not too sure. I think you have to go to somewhere like Beer Merchants or Honest Brew, because they do import them. I mean, you'd think with the fact that they've got a brew pub in London that they'd have a direct form of distribution. Comes out in November. Okay. Because you'd think that with the fact they've got premises here in the UK, that they'd be able to use that to their advantage to import more over directly internally. But, I'm not import-export, so it's a very complicated system, really. My mate wants to swap me his 2 Life and Deaths and 2 full ESBs for 2 random Carlings I have lying around. What the fuck? Go for it. Fucking hell. Easy. Easy. If he loves it, fair dues. Use that to your advantage. See, I don't think I've ever been in that sort of situation, but I'd feel guilty. I'd feel guilty. I don't know what it is. I would feel guilty. Yeah, I was like, want me to come over now? There you go. Thank you. But you've always got to make out like you've got the lesser end of the bargain there. But that being said, the last few life and deaths that I've had, tasting fantastic. And I never used to really like Vocation's core range. If it comes out in November, maybe it's just last year's edition I haven't tried. I thought I'd missed two. So have you been picking it up as and when it's been released? That must be so frustrating when you sort of miss a year. I hope that's what they've done and you can still pick them up as they're released. I've got some Wild Turkey Bourbon and Go, but not familiar with that one. Yeah, Bourbon County. It's Goose Island, but it's like barrel aged imperial stouts and barley wines and stuff like that. I'm not too sure if it's like a specific collaboration they've done with like a bourbon manufacturer or specific barrels that they use all the time. But I'd love to try some of the Bourbon County stuff. Let's see. It keeps going back to top chat on the YouTube, so I'm missing out some of the comments. It's funny because my neighbour always gives me Collinger's birthday or Christmas. I hate that shite, so never gets drunk, so I give it to him back for his birthday. There you go. There you go. It saves you the expense, and you can age it for him. So there we go. Nothing like filling a glass full of water and using it as an ashtray. Anyway, so last beer of the night, we've got a can, 330ml. It's got a green ring pull. Mystery beer, nicely packaged. Use of white paper and black insulation tape. So let's get this open and see what we get. Can't remember what my track record is with mystery beers, but we shall see. I've had some major misses though. Oh, and this is a lively can. What beer would have a green ring pull in a 330ml can? Interesting. It's a Goose Island Barrel Aged Imperial Stout, mate, that comes out each year. Also with some different variations. Highly rated and always joy to drink. Yeah, I need to be a little bit more proactive when it comes to those releases. I'm not one of those people who thinks, oh, it's Goose Island, I'm not going to get it. Because no matter like what sort of like financial situation we're in now, stuff like that, it's not going to be half-arsed. Yeah, they're not Beavertown. Anyway. So, beer in the glass then. And it's a hazy little jobber. Golden. Got that sort of like lemony look to it. Head's died down quite quickly. It was quite abrasive. Well, it was abrasive because one's coming out of glass, so you can't say abrasive. How you coping down under, mate, with all this tyranny? Oh, Jesus. Mind you, there was a story in America where a woman lost custody of her child because she didn't get the old fee, but her ex-husband did, and because of that, he instantly won custody of it. I think it was in America. No, I don't agree with that. No matter what you think of, I'm just going to say the vaccinations. Shit like that shouldn't happen. And I have been seeing some genuinely awful stuff happening in Australia, which is really sad to see a place like Australia with stuff like that happening. Let's see. Just dawned on me you're talking about a beer. Think smooth as fuck. Booze, well hidden coffee, chocolate caramel molasses. Ooh. Turn against all this crap, as you see on my Instagram. Exactly. There's a lot of stuff that I vehemently, that's not a word, disagree with. Although I am double jabbed, just because I think I've gone into this before, but Christopher Hitchens put it a lot more eloquently than I did. Sometimes you have to make those sacrifices. But I'll tell you what, there's no way I'm getting top ups on this. I've done what they've said for me to keep any sort of liberty that I have. And if they're going to keep moving the goalposts, then, so be it. We shall see. If I have to stay in the UK, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? Anyway. On the appearance, is that hazy lager? Is it a bit more of a pale IPA? Nice foamy white head. Let's see what we get on the nose. It's definitely got a soft, sweet, citrusy vibe about it. But then it's got that sort of slight musky, pale maltiness of a lager. So it may well be a hoppy lager, and I'm going to get interrupted in a second, so bear with me. Oh, no, I'm not. Or could it be a modest pale ale? Yeah, it's citrusy, a little bit floral. Interesting. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, folks. That citrusiness I was getting on the nose, coming through on the flavour. I've got an idea who the brewery might be. And I think it's a brewery that I was talking about their core range before. Don't ask me why. But yeah, it's citrusy. There's an ever so subtle tropical vibe about it. I've already got the beer in my head, what I think it is. But we're going to play this out for all it's worth. Light bodied. I'm going to say it's around 4 to 4.5%. I think it's a pale ale. It's a very gentle hop profile, I would say. See, now, is Craig's comments just tell me what I want to hear after I've said that? Or is he playing mind games? Or I just get played all the time. I really, really do. It's the green ring pull. But then part of me is like, do they have gold tops? And I can't remember. Okay, well, I'll play along. It's a pale ale. 4 to 4.5%. I think that this is vocation, life and death. Because I know the artwork for Life and Death, the writing is green, but the vocation used gold tops on their cans. Do you know what? Throwing all my cards on the table. Vocation, life and death. That's what I think this is. So without any further ado, let's find out to see if I was correct or if I need to throw away my craft card like Dirty Harry. Can't remember what his name is in Dirty Harry. Clint Eastwood's character. Harry Callahan or something like that? I can't remember. They're good films, by the way. So once I've got this started, I'll close my eyes and I'll peel away the paper and we shall see if I was right or if I was wrong. I could be wrong. A little bit of a public image there for you. No one asked for it, but I'll give it to you anyway. It's nicely packaged, this can. God, I'm going to have crushed the can before I've even opened it. I don't know if I've taken all the paper off. It doesn't feel like it, but I don't feel... So, I don't know where the camera's gone. Okay. All right. Ah. I can't claim this as a success. Well, far from it. First of all, it's an American brewery. So, Green Gold Brewing. And this is a can of the Hop Princess Hoppy Lager. 4.2%. So I think I've missed more than I've hit with this. I know I'm a big enough man to admit that. But I just had it in my head that this was Vocation's Life and Death. Maybe that was the power of persuasion by some of the stuff in the chat. See, that's the thing about mystery beers. Your mind goes to so many different places. Interesting. This is really nice. I like this. Do you know what? Part of me thinks I need to get a hold of this can myself. Oh, look at that! Look at the look at that. When you peel off the artwork, you get artwork on the can as well. Bonus points for me. I tell you what, this is not a bad hoppy lager, and to me, it tastes more like a pale ale. But I did say I had the muskiness of a lager and the crisp maltiness before I committed. So I'll give myself some credit on that. But I tell you what, I'd like to actually try this head to head with Life and Death. So I think that could be quite an interesting head to head. That this isn't bad, you know. It's really nice. Even at room temperature, it's tasting good. So, well, I'll tell you what, the feminists would have a fucking field day with that can. Don't post that on fate on it. Don't try me funny. Don't paste that. Paste that. Don't post that on Instagram. Because even though there are countless accounts of girls with the tits out with a can in between the tits, that's sexist apparently. I mean, to be honest, that what she's doing with her things and her tongue, I could definitely see that causing problems on Instagram with specific ladies who have yellow hair. But I'm joking. I'm jesting. But yeah, not bad. Green Gold Brewing, Hot Princess, and she certainly is. That's a nice little drop. That Very nice indeed. So I don't know if that's even partially a success or what. I don't know. Yeah, the IPLs are quite popular over in England. What about this? I'm just celebrating in strong, independent women. That's all I'm doing. Very surprised it's a lager. Yeah, definitely. Looks a bit too dark for a lager. I thought that before you opened it. Yeah, I thought that too. They've rebranded it. Probably get another IPA. Yeah, same here. Yeah, it does. When I was looking at it, it did have big vocation vibes about it for some reason. But yeah, not a bad drop. So if you see it, pick it up. So Adam's kind of got me with that one, but I was kind of successful. It was one of those sort of like middle of the road mystery beers. Not the beer itself, but my attempt at deciphering what it was. Anyway, so I'm going to call that there, folks, because I'm proper craving a crisp butty. Speaking of which, I'm going to be recording a new crisp butty video. I'm going to bring the crisp butty series back because I've been coming up with some nice ideas. Hopefully, I'll bring Saturday Night Slice back as well, because people have been asking about the Chris Butty show, the amazing Chris Butty show. Did I call it? It's far from amazing, but hey ho. And Walker stole my idea and brought out a recipe book of Chris Butty's. Where's my royalty check, you bastards? Blaze are much better. But yeah, so I'm proper in the mood now for a Chris Butty. So I'm going to do that. Probably have another cig and then have a little bit of water and then go to bed. But yeah, the main thing of the stream, No Country, it was okay. Not what I was expecting, but that might just be down to my own sort of like preconceived perceptions. You certainly did, Adam, and well, I'll let you watch back. It's been within the last 10 minutes, so we're at 2 hours and 3 minutes. So watch this from about 1 hour and 50 minutes in, because I cracked open one of the mystery beers. I will relabel this video afterwards, but they pressured me into it. It's nothing I could do. But yeah, you did miss the first mystery beer. But as I was saying to those guys, these next three I'm going to actually do on their own stream, probably on Friday. Yeah, it's going to be Friday when I do the next three mystery beers. But Adam, that was a good one. Without saying too much now, that was a really good one. And yeah. But yeah, as I said, 1 hour 50 minutes. Watch from there if you want to see the mystery beer. And I do very much appreciate you dropping off some mystery beers, Adam. Anyway, folks, I'm going to go off now. Night time for me, fellas, says Goldrake. Nice chatting as always. Likewise, always a pleasure. Sam Smalley saying later, lads. Later. I hope you're having a few more beers. Night, mate, and don't let all this tyranny get you down too much. Jesus. Got to do what you've got to do. You really, really have, especially at times like this. But yeah, cheers, buddy. Cheers to you too, Craig. Always a pleasure, sir. And I'm glad you've enjoyed tonight's stream. It's all downhill from the little one. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, Adam. I don't know how to read. I don't know how to read your vibes about these mystery beers. So I've got a feeling I've got some surprises coming my way. But I'm very much looking forward to opening them all. Yeah, I'm going to do that on Friday evening. And I'll do it live. I'll set up the event in the next day or so. Any other streams on tonight? I'm not too sure. I know Harry's starting to do streams every Wednesday and Friday. I'm not sure, so I think Harry's going to be live tomorrow. Not sure who's going to be live tonight, but if there is, I might watch them for a little bit as I'm laying in bed, chomping on my crisp butty. Don't know what I'm going to do for my crisp butty though. Might be a potential recipe idea for another video. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Yanks will be on in a bit. Okay, yeah, it can always depend on the Yanks. Just not when they've got military hardware. Anyway, doing an unboxing in a while. Doing an unboxing in a while. So you're doing that later on tonight, Craig? So I might check in on that one. There's a big part of me that really wants to open that can of Lost Lager in the fridge. But I don't. Well, I won't be hungover, but I'll probably still be shitting water tomorrow. But hey ho, if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. You all take care. You all stay safe. Really appreciate it. Massive thank you once again to Adam Mersey Beers for dropping off some fine premium ales. I am genuinely looking forward to that triple IPA. Fingers crossed, Craig, but I'll still watch either way. Anyway, so yeah, Craig will be doing an unboxing in a while, so go check that out. And yeah, see you all on Friday for some more mystery beers. And I'm guessing there'll be some streams over the weekend as well. I'm not sure if Harry will have people on after he's done his live reviews, but hey ho, you never know. Got some Imperials that I need to get rid of, so if there's an invite, crashing it. But yeah, anyway, cheers for watching, folks. You all take care, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for watching. Always appreciate it. Cheers.